Today we're going to be talking about how to compress your bass guitar inside of Logic Pro X. Hi, my name is Tyson. I'm a mastering engineer here at Dinosaur Dog Mastering. I do want to give to you a free course that I made to go along with this video. So I mixed the song that I use inside of this tutorial from start to finish, including the mastering section, and I teach you every single step of the way. I call it my Pro Mix Formula, and you can check out that course down below in the link in the description, or you can go down to the first comment, and it's also in the first comment. There should be a pinned comment with the link as well, so you can go ahead and get that course for free. Again, this is my free gift to you for watching this video. Let's dive into how to compress your bass guitar inside of Logic Pro X. Now in the DAW, we're gonna show you exactly how to compress your bass guitar now. Some basses don't need compression. If your bass guitar is already extremely consistent in terms of dynamics, say you used a synth bass or you have an 808 as your bass, something like that, sometimes you don't actually need any compression, because if it's already consistent, there's no problem to fix. So don't just throw on a compressor just because you have a bass guitar and you feel like you need to add compression. Only add it if there's an actual issue. That being said, your bass guitar should be extremely consistent inside of your mix, because if it's not, you're not going to have a very solid foundation for your mix. And so obviously we want a very solid, sure foundation for the rest of our mix to build off of. Our bass guitar does need to be extremely consistent. That being said, let's listen to the bass guitar in this mix and determine if we actually need to add some compression or not. Again, we can hear those, especially that first, that when the progression restart is da 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 da, right? So those notes really poke out in the mix. That's gonna make a big difference in the overall mix itself. So it's a great indication. Let's add some compression. Let's go ahead and add our compressor. It doesn't matter which compressor you use in terms of the style. I'm just gonna use this standard Platinum Digital. Feel free to play around with the other ones though. They can add some awesome vibe if you really want them to. We're gonna turn our auto gain off. We're gonna leave the release on auto release. 95% of the time that works just fantastic. But the important things that you do want to dial in correctly is your ratio and attack. So your ratio should be very high with your bass. Why is that? That is because we want our compression to keep our bass guitar extremely consistent. It's almost like putting a limiter on it, where we want to squish it down so it's almost always the same exact level. We don't want to be quite that extreme. We want there to be some slight dynamics in our bass, especially if he's going up high on the neck or whatever, and we want to add a little bit of intensity, then we do want some slight dynamic change during that. But overall, we do want it to be consistent, again, because it's a foundation of our mix. So we're gonna use a very high ratio. I would recommend 8:1 starting. If that doesn't work for you, you can obviously change this to be higher or lower, but 8:1 is a great starting point for your bass guitar. The second thing is attack. Your attack should be very slow, because if we make it too fast, we're just gonna cut off all of the life from the bass. While the bass should be very consistent, we want the meat of the note to be consistent. We don't necessarily want to change the attack of the bass to be consistent, because if there are some dynamic changes that are intentional with the bass guitar, those are going to be primarily imbued into the transient or the attack of the bass, not necessarily the note itself. And we want the note, again, to be very consistent. So that just tone, the rumble, that to be very consistent. We're going to make a longer attack. I'm going to start around 80 milliseconds. This is very easy to remember. 8:1 on your ratio, and then 80 milliseconds on your attack. Generally, I'll land between 50 and 100 milliseconds on the attack of the bass. Change my threshold all the way to 0, and then I'm gonna play this, and then I'm gonna keep moving this down until I get very consistent gain reduction. I basically want there to always be at least a little bit of gain reduction. That means I'm capturing even the quieter notes and reducing them just slightly, so that even the louder notes are being reduced by a lot. And that's okay, because I want this to be so consistent. This is the approach that I use on almost all bass guitars. Perfect. That sounds great to me. I'm still getting a lot of the attack, and I'm not actually going to adjust anything. This worked perfectly for me, and I am good to go. So let's listen to it in context. Here's without the compression. You're probably not gonna be able to hear this very much. Here is without compression, and then I'll add it in. Good girl, she loves her mama, loves So based on how you're monitoring this, you may not be able to really tell that big of a difference, but that bass is much more present after the compression, especially when it gets a little quieter in this middle section right here. It's really kind of dying off without that compression, but that compression is just kind of sucking everything in, keeping it very, very consistent, and we are good to go. So that is how I would approach compressing almost every single bass guitar. If you want to learn more, if you want to dive deeper in this song, then I mix this entire song start to finish for you inside of a free course that I'm giving away as my gift to you. So make sure you're getting that course down below in the description of the video, or in the there should be a link in the first comment as well in the comment section. So I look forward to seeing you in the training, and until then, I'll see you in the next one.